amino acids.
Nope.
Wow.
We're going to boil down to what are the two regions we consume food? We're chemoheterotrophs, right? What are the two components necessary for life?
Carbon.
Carbon, but in general, let's not even go there. Carbon can be part of what?
Energy.
Energy is one, and
To build up.
building blocks, which can be a lot, which can be carbon, yeah, can be, it can. Okay. So, I guess you all should have this. What are the difference between catabolic and anabolic pathway? What does it mean to be aerogonic? What does it mean to be exergonic?
Catabolism, you're like breaking down.
You're breaking down.
Anabolism, you're adding.
You're building up. Which one is going to give off energy? Which one's going to require energy?
Anabolic requires energy.
Right. Anytime you build something, it's going to do what? It requires it to put in energy. Anytime you break something down, you're probably going to do what? It's going to release energy in some point. Even if you have little thin blocks on the table. Are they going to build on themselves if they're just sitting here? It takes the energy for you to stack them up, right? If they fall over, are they going to give off energy or is that going to require energy? It's going to give off energy. It's going to get kinetic energy. They're going to move, right? So what do anabolic pathways do? They synthesize what?
Molecules from the smaller products of the catabolism.
Yeah, smaller particles up to the larger one, right? And catabolic things break down food into what? Two different things. What are they? What are the two things you do when you break food down? You just went over energy and building blocks. What is a redox reaction? So what I want you to know about redox reactions? What are they? How are they involved in terms of?
Oxidation and reduction reaction.
And what does that mean? What are you moving around?
Electrons.
Electrons, right? And what usually goes with it?
A hydrogen.
It's going to be what's left in the hydrogen when you pull that electron off. If you pull an electron off hydrogen, what do you have left? What are hydrogens made out of? Simplest one. One proton and one electron. No neutrons in hydrogen. Rip off an electron, what's left with hydrogen? Proton, right? So you move those electrons around with it. So you move the hydrogen proton around with it too, right? Something is reduced, something else has to be what? Oxidated, right? Oxidized, oxidated. You're right. Cells use electron carriers to carry electrons often in a hydrogen atom. Remember that. Move that around. So if the electron donor is going to donate electrons to an electron acceptor, the donor becomes oxidized or reduced. Oxidized, and the acceptor becomes reduced. So which one of these has reducing power at this point? Which one is the reducing agents? That's where it gets confusing sometimes. Which one of these is a reducing agent? This one or this one? Which one?
The electron receptor.
The donor is the reducing agent. Because it's actually reducing this, right? So this has reducing power. Okay, it's going to reduce this thing right here. Good. All right. What's ATP? Why is it important?
Energy.
Energy currency in the cell. It's the usable energy in the cell. How do we get ATP? That's what the whole chapter is about, basically. No?
Would it be glucose?
No. Well, glucose is the preferential substrate for glycolysis and everything. But how do we get energy? How do we make ATP?
Your metabolism.
Metabolism, in particular, cellular respiration, right? And what are the three components of cellular respiration? And four. Maybe it's going to be a good idea. Really don't want to count those four on one test, though. Okay, we'll go through this second. What is phosphorylation? We'll walk through these one at a time. What does it mean to phosphorylate something? You add a phosphate to it, right? The two types we're going to talk about. So cells phosphorylate ADP to ATP to move energy around. We're gonna worry about just two of these, we're not gonna worry about plants right now, that one's an easy one, okay? Substrate level phosphorylation and oxidative phosphorylation. What does each one of those mean?
Oxidative. Oxidative, is it like the same thing as oxidized?
Nope, that's the problem, that's the hardest one, that's because it's actually named based on how it works. What's going on right here?
Substrate.
Hmm?
You're putting the phosphate and you're adding it into the ADP so we can save T.
This is not going to take the phosphate from this substrate, right?
Yeah.
And add it to this substrate, right? So it's going to take this and add it to. So now this one is just X, could be glucose, could be whatever, right? But now you've got ATP. This is substrate level phosphorylation, right? The enzyme is taking the phosphate from this molecule and added it directly to this molecule. Where do we see substrate level phosphorylation in cellular respiration? One, two. Glycolysis and Krebs. Good. Where most of it.
We see what? So the
Substrate. Where do you see substrate level phosphorylation? All right. Now, what is an enzyme, guys? You should know this. This whole chapter should really be reviewed pretty much, except for the pentose phosphate pathway.
So organic catalyst.
It's a what?
A catalyst.
It's a biological catalyst. And what do catalysts do?
To break it down.
Reactions.
They don't break things down and say, that's what a lot of people think. What?
They speed up reactions.
Speed up reactions, and how do they speed up reactions? What do they do? I don't worry about the positive delta G, the negative delta G, what is the biology term for it? We're not chemists. You lower the activation energy. That's what I want you guys to know. It's kind of that little hill you have to push over to get everything started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So catalyst, if you got a reaction,
And that's a catalyst.
this is going to have an activation energy like that.
So that's
Is that going to happen? When you add an enzyme, the reaction, the activation energy is going to be like this. So all it's doing is making it what?
more efficient.
Not say more efficient,
Easier to react.
more easily for that reaction to happen. You have to put less into it, less energy into it. Okay. So remember, I'll show you when we get to it. It's coming up pretty quick. All right. Just know what an apoenzyme and a holoenzyme are. Apoenzymes are not active until you bind a cofactor. A lot of times they're going to be binding coenzymes, inorganic ions, a lot of them are going to be magnesium, things like that. What is the active site on an enzyme? So here's a holoenzyme, that's all complete. Here's an apoenzyme. Here's a coenzyme. Here's an inorganic cofactor. Everything works together now. It's all part of regulation. What is the active site? Why is it important?
Where things connect and it can change its shape depending on what the coenzyme or the inorganic
Okay, so
cofactor
that's
is.
good. Change it. But what goes on?
The substrate.
Go ahead. And then,
Substrate goes there and it fits.
okay. Goes back. What's the simplest definition of the active site?
Which is the amount of energy needs to trigger a chemical reaction.
Okay, right. So it's where the substrate is going to bind to the enzyme and where the actions are going to take place. So that's the active site. Are they specific or are they general? They're usually very specific, right? There are a few out there that are general. A lot of them are detoxifying enzymes, but most of them are very specific. Why do you want them to be very specific?
I don't want them doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Right. You don't want this enzyme bouncing around, catalyzing all these reactions you don't want going on, right? All about regulation. All right, so here's the substrate, here's an enzyme. What is the model we talked about? The lock and key and I thought I heard it. Induced fit. Okay? So if you look at the shape here, it's not quite the same shape, is it?
No.
Substrate's going to bind to the active site and it's going to change shape. Okay? This could be the substrate enzyme complex. That's that induced fit model. It's going to grab onto it. It's going to change shape a little bit. Okay? So it's the lock and key induced fit model. And what happens here, look at this one right here. You've got this enzyme fructose 1,6-biphosphate aldolase, and you got the substrate, which is fructose 1,6-biphosphate. It's going to bind into the active site. The active site is going to change shape, and it's going to grab hold of it a little bit. And what this enzyme is going to do is when it starts to move and change shape, it's going to put stress on these two bonds right here. And that stress on those bonds will be just enough to do what? To help it break apart. And now it separates off into these two, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon sugars. 1, 2, oh wait, 1 4 carbon, 1 3 carbon. No, that's what I thought. It kind of bent the carbon. What? 2 3 carbon sugars. I'm like, there can't be a 4 carbon sugar in there. So it's going to break that apart. Now the enzyme does what?
But can you, I got lost. Sorry. What breaks it apart? What changes
you
its
see how it
shape?
grabs hold it, changes shape, and grabs hold of it right there?
Got it.
See how it's kind of like this right here?
Yeah, how did that happen?
But it's because that's what the enzymes are doing there. In this
They're doing
particular
their
case,
thing.
it's sort of, as it changes shape, it puts stress on those bonds.
So it just does it on its own. It just
Yeah,
changes its
that's
own
the way
shape.
the
Oh,
enzyme
okay.
works. So it's not involved in any part of the reaction. Is
Okay.
Is it chemically changed at all? Is the enzyme changed at all? No. It just puts that stress, in this particular case, puts stress on those bonds, and they're going to break apart. Then it's going to let go of the two products, and it's going to go back to its original shape so it can do what? Catalyze another reaction. Now, if it's going to put two things together, what it does a lot of times is it'll grab the two substrates and orient it in the right order so that the bonds can form. Instead of this random thing floating around. Like I said, if you've got a lock and a key in a box in space, is that key ever going to go into that lock?
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually. Statistically, eventually it's going to.
Yeah.
If you got something, grab it and stick it in there, that's what an enzyme does. Does it do anything else to the reaction? No. In that case, it just lines up the two things so they're going to work better.
Got it.
It just facilitates the reaction. You know these right here. Again, you know these. Next chapter, remember a lot of the next chapter is actually built on this, right? How does temperature and pH affect enzyme activity?
Greatly. They're highly sensitive to pH and temperature.
But why? How does it affect their activity?
Because of the nature of them.
Not necessarily denature. Remember, don't, because that's what a lot of people teach that in 1306. Denaturing means what, guys?
Breakdown.
It's all the way linear, like it's all the way apart, right? But what if you change the temperature and the pH? You change it.
It's just adding some. So it's not, it
Well,
changes bind properly.
Okay, but what are you doing? Simple. What is it doing?
Changing the shape.
Changing the shape. And that's what I want you to get on that. When it comes to proteins, structure determines the function. So when you change the shape a little bit, you affect the active site. That's what you do. If you completely linearize it, that's what? That's denaturing.
Yeah.
How do enzyme and substrate concentrations affect it? That one should be easy.
How do you what?
Enzyme and substrate concentrations affect enzyme activity rate.
Slow it down.
Not most of it, right? This one's, don't overthink this one. This one is going to be,
The more concentration, the more reaction.
okay, so remember this little thing, it's the next, going to be the next slide, I think. This is substrate concentration.
Oh, you plateau.
This is product formation. Okay, the more substrate I add, the more product I'm going to make, right? So the more substrate, the more product. Until I reach what?
Saturation point.
Saturation. Saturation means all of the available enzyme active sites are occupied. And the enzyme's working as fast. The enzymes are working as fast as they can. So think of how they used to put out fires back in the day. Old days. You've seen them in the movies, I'm sure. or YouTube videos on
Bucket water.
bucket brigades, right? So if you got 10 guys with 10 buckets, and you're trying to put out a fire, okay, and you have all this water coming in, right? Eventually, all those guys are going to be bailing as fast as they can, right? Even if more water comes in at that point, can you put any more water in that fire? No, right? So no matter what, you keep adding more water, you've only got so many buckets, enzymes.
Oh.
Now you bring in 10 more guys. You still got this big pool of water, plenty of water coming in. Now what have you done with that amount of water you're putting in that fire?
Increase it.
So you've got 10 guys. Okay, remember how they used to put buckets in the water? Okay, so they're sitting there bailing as fast as they can. You got plenty of water coming in, but you can only bail so fast, right?
Uh-huh.
If you bring 10 more guys in,
The water's gonna decrease when
you've got plenty of water coming in. You got a whole little lake.
Get more buckets, maybe?
Hmm?
Get more buckets?
You've got more buckets, so what happens is volume of water that's going to be put on the fire? Is it going to go up?
Increase.
It's going to go up. That's just like the enzymes. The enzymes are working as fast as they can. You can keep adding as much substrate as you want. They can only work so fast. But if you add more enzyme, what happens to substrate production?
Increase.
It's going to keep going back up. Until what?
Until you
So
reach
It hits saturation again.
saturation.
On the vertical, what do you have there? pH?
No, product. Substrate product.
Product, and then on the bottom is substrate.
Substrate concentration.
Until.
So substrate concentration goes up, product formation goes up, until you reach what?
Saturation.
Saturation. And I think that's the next one. We'll talk about inhibitors in a minute. Notice the same thing right here. They're saying enzyme activity is going to correlate to product formation, right? Now, why do we say that if you go up slowly on this side, and then you reach here, you have the sharp decline on this side? Why is that? Why isn't it more like the pH curve, which is a little bit more?
and start breaking it down and starts to just denatures and just kind of falls flat.
When it comes to temperature, you usually don't denature things too much when you get them cold. Eventually, they're just going to get in a funky shape. They're not going to work very well, but it takes time. But there's a point where you reach enough heat, it's going to start breaking all those bonds. And when you break all those bonds, what happens? It denatures. pH is going to be a little bit different. If you get too low, pH is going to denature. You get too high, and pH is going to denature. That's a denatured protein. You know that. Okay, what's about the 3 ways you can regulate enzyme activity with chemicals or compounds? Competitive inhibition just means what?
It's just kind of fighting for the.
They're going to compete for the active site. That's competitive inhibition. You've got some compound, a drug, a toxin, a natural whatever, is going to be basically the same shape as the active site, so it's going to fit in the active site and just block it. It's competing for the active site. In general, most enzymes have higher affinity for their natural substrate. So if you keep adding substrate, what can you do?
Like win, sort of like.
You can't win it to go where it's going to you have so much substrate in there, it's going to have higher affinity for this, there's going to be more of it. It's probably eventually going to kick out that inhibitor. So that's a reversible inhibitor. An irreversible inhibitor is going to do what?
Why you reverse it?
Right, it's going to actually get in here and covalent bond to this probably, and it's done. That's when you're done. Excuse me. I don't like calling this inhibition allosteric inhibition because you have allosteric regulators. You can positively regulate or you can negatively regulate, right? So what's the difference between allosteric regulation?
Causes no reaction.
It can, but what's going on here? Are you looking at the active site? Are you looking at blocking the active site? No. You've got some other site. It's an allosteric regulatory site. Okay. In allosteric inhibition, sorry. the enzyme is made active, right? It's already turned on. When the allosteric regulator binds to it, what is it going to do to that enzyme?
Change its active state.
It's going to change the shape, but what's it going to do to the activity?
Turn it off.
Turn it off. It's going to shut it down. So you're going to what? Inhibit it, right? In an allosteric activation, the enzyme is made inactive.
Inactive?
Inactive. Distorted, non-functional active site.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So it's made turned off.
Oh, okay. It's already made that, but then when it makes the connection, it fixes
So
it.
now when the regulatory molecule binds, it's going to open up the active site and it's going to turn the enzyme
On.
on.
Okay.
So you have allosteric inactivation and allosteric activation. Which one is the enzyme made active?
Made active?
Well, think about it, don't jump to that answer.
Inactivation.
Innovation.
In allosteric inhibition, if an enzyme is allosterically inhibited, it is made active. It's already made active, you have to inhibit it. You have to shut it down.
Oh, okay. Inhibit.
Kind of backwards. If an enzyme is allosterically activated, the enzyme is made inactive. Now it's called positive and negative regulation, but we'll stick with inactive and activation.
I think that's why I'm getting confused. You usually say it the other way.
Positive,
Positive and negative.
positive regulation, negative regulation, yeah. And it means, so which one would be positive regulation here?
Innovation.
This would be positive regulation, right? You're gonna turn this one on, negative regulation, you're gonna turn it off. We're gonna stick with these right here, activation and inactivation. Okay, this is feedback. What is feedback?
It's when the substrate, like when it comes in and the enzyme, you know, it makes the, what's needed to activate another enzyme.
Okay, but what's the gist of the whole thing eventually? And this is going to
To
different
change the
pathways.
substrate.
What it means is, this enzyme's already made active, so this can be allosteric regulation, right?
Uh-huh.
This can be allosteric inhibition.
Okay.
You're gonna make, the enzyme's gonna stay active until you make all the product you need. If you don't need to make any more of this, you want to keep making it. It's a waste of resources and energy, right? This is gonna feed back up to bind that allosteric inhibitory site and do what? Shut it down. Until what? Until you run out of this and you need to start making more. All right. Now let's just go through cellular respiration. Everybody good with the enzymes? All right, let's go through glycolysis, anaerobic processing, Krebs cycle, electron transport. All right. This is like the third time you've gone through this.
Yeah.
All right, what is glycolysis? Where does it take place in bacteria? In the cytoplasm. It actually takes place in the cytoplasm of all cells, right? It involves splitting 6-carbon glucose into 3-carbon sugar molecules. Substrate level phosphorylation, which just means what?
You're adding the
One to another, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I really want you guys to know about this whole thing is what goes in, what do you get out of it? What goes in is glucose. What do you get out of it?
Two
2 ATP,
and
2 NADH, and 2 pyruvic acids.
2 ATPs,
Mm-hmm.
2 pyruvic, and then 2 ATPs.
No, 2 ATP, 2 NADHs,
And
and 2 pyruvic acids. All right. I'm not going to go through, you guys should have gone through this in 1306, so I'll leave this out. But why do they call it the energy investment state? That's the only thing I want to know. We'll walk through it. Here's glucose. ADP gets dephosphorylated, and it actually substrate level phosphorylates glucose. And what's our net gain of ATP at this point? This first step.
The first step.
There's
How
no
many
gain.
ATP we made?
Negative.
No, the first step, how many?
Negative one.
-1.
Yeah.
It cost us 1. Remember sometimes that's what they call the energy investment stage? Sometimes like a candle burning. Is that an exothermic reaction? Is that a catabolic reaction? Is it burning, is it breaking down that wick?
Yes.
So it's catabolic, right? That's what we're doing here. This is basically what? Combustion, right? But for the can of a burn, what do I have to do first?
That's energy.
You have to invest energy to get the whole thing going sometimes. And that's why they call this the energy investment stage. Second step, another ATP is dephosphorylate and you phosphorylate glucose 6-phosphate to glucose 1,6-biphosphate. Now we're at -2, right? Not very good.
ATP minus 2.
And -2 right now. Now what do? You're going to cleave this 6-carbon sugar into 2 what? 3 carbon sugars. So you have 2 glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, G3P. Still haven't done much in terms of making anything out of it, have we? Now, 2 NADs are now converted to 2 NADHs. Is NAD been oxidized or reduced here? Reduced.
Yes.
How do you know, huh?
Yeah,
How do you know it's been reduced?
because it gained
A, you have a plus charge there, and you don't have a plus charge here anymore. Secondly, what is this? Hydrogen,
gained
right?
in hydrogen.
And we said in this particular thing, you move electrons by moving hydrogen around, right? So if this has been reduced, if something's reduced, something else has to be. So what's happened to G3P? Has it been reduced or oxidized? It's been oxidized, right? Okay. Now you get in here, you got 2 phosphates coming in, we'll have to talk about secret how we'll do in there. Get down here, now you have 2 P come in and they get phosphorylated by substrate level phosphorylation. You take a phosphate off of this one, and take a phosphate off of this one, and give us 2 ATP. Now our net gain of ATP is 0, right? 2 NADH. You come down here, you pull out some water, metabolic water is going to come out. Now you're down to PEP. PEP, 2 ADP are going to come in, and you're going to substrate level phosphorylate them to give you 2 more what? ATP, right? So what's our net gain of ATP at this point? 2. 2 ATP, 2 NADH. All right, so what do we get out of that from that glucose molecule? Everything is done per molecule of glucose. What do we get out of that? 2 ATP, our net gain is 2 ATP, right? 2 NADHs and 2
Pyruvic acid.
pyruvic acids. What was our total ATP production? 4.
Total.
Because the 2 gets started, so your net gain out of that is just 2. Everybody got that? Everybody get that?
Because it
That's
took
one of my
2.
favorite questions.
Ugh.
Huh?
2 NA.
No? Okay, look. How many ATP did you spend
Because it
to
took 2 to
light the
make it.
candle?
2.
Up here at the top.
Wait, 1.
You're 1 and 2. It costs you 2 ATP, right?
Yeah.
So that's 2. So you're at minus 2 right now, right?
Okay.
You get down here, you just made how many ATP? So what's your net gain of ATP?
2.
No, your net gain.
You said 2?
You took 2, and you just made 2, so you went from -2 to, well, let's go.
What the? Oh,
You
you're
start
right.
off,
And then at the
it
bottom
takes
it's
2 ATP to get you started, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're at -2. Now you just made 2 more. So -2 plus 2 is 0. So your net gain, what you've gotten out of this is 0.
At this
Okay.
point.
Now we make 2 more down here. So what's your net gain?
2. Get it.
So that's one of your favorite questions.
Well, my favorite question is what is the total
Total.
number made? How many did you make?
We have two
4.
4. Okay.
Because right here, the 2 there, and then the 2 right there. I thought it was because of those
But
two,
then
but it's not.
0
Oh,
is
it's
kind of
not the
like.
2?
No, it's the 2 down there is step 7.
Because you.
Right
it
now when he
costs
was
you
asking,
2
you made
ATP
2,
to
but
Right.
make
you ended
2.
up at 0 because
So
you
not the
only
net
2.
gain, but the like. I
So
forgot
you
what the
actually
word is
made
for
4
it.
ATP,
Just
but
be
you lost 2
0.
by
So you
because
didn't
you have a
really
0.
Make anything like.
Okay, what is net? I think people have a problem with the term net. What does net gain mean?
Profit.
Have leftover.
Profit over, yeah. If I buy a car from you for $10,000, and then I sell it to you for $12,000, what's my net gain? $2,000, and that's what they're talking about here. So, if I bought this pyruvic acid for 2 ATP,
Yeah, but then you got 2 out of it, so you didn't really, like, I don't know what because you talked about it when we had to, when we were first going over this, because you said there's a net gain, but there's another type of gain,
well, there's a,
which is, but that's 0 because it cost you 2, so you didn't really get
That's
anything
total.
back.
okay, hold on. But that's probably what I was talking about right here at the very beginning. Yeah. So that's your total, your net gain is 2. The total produced is probably what I said.
Yeah.
Is how many? 4, right? But your net, the amount you get out of it, the extra you get out of it for that molecule of glucose is how many? 2. Does that make sense? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense in a little bit different more actually. I hope I did. Okay. So it takes 2 to get it started, so you're already in a deficit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're already at -2. But if you make 4 of them, you're getting, so 2 of those are going to make up that deficit, and the other 2 are going to be profit, right? So the total production is how many? How many ATP are produced per molecule of glucose?
4.
4. What is your net gain?
2.
2. Right? All right. What is this an example of right here?
Substrate level phosphorylation.
Yeah.
Whoa. So figure 4.
All right. Now we've got, so what do we got out of it? We got 2 ATP, 2 NADHs. NADHs are going to go over electron transport chain. What's going to happen to 2 pyruvic acids?
They're going to be oxidized to produce ATP.
Okay, Vinci, but where do they go next? Where do they go next in this big long Krebs cycle? They're gonna be, we want to go to the Krebs cycle, right? But can you put pyruvic acid right into the Krebs cycle?
No. You
No.
have to break it down, don't
You
you?
got to change it. So it's either pyruvate processing, synthesis of acetyl-CoA, however you want to do it. But right here, the resultant pyruvic acid completely oxidized to produce ATP by a series of redox reactions. So remember that. During cellular respiration, glucose is completely oxidized to CO2 and water to give you ATP. That's the whole gist of this whole thing. Okay?
To water and what? I'm sorry?
CO2.
CO2. To give you.
Okay. So let's walk through these real quick. But now we've got, how many pyruvic acid do we have? How many did we make? 2. So everything's going to happen twice from here on out, right? Pyruvic acid comes in, it's decarboxylated, which means you just pull off a carbon. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you how many carbons are formed. But what is happening is glucose is going through glycolysis, pyruvate processing, Krebs. What are we doing to it? We're chopping it up, right? So you just chopped off what right here? 2 carbons. So you went from 1 6-carbon, right, to 2 3-carbon. You pull off 2 carbons, and now what do you have left? 2 2-carbons, right? 2 of these guys, 2 acetates, right? Does everybody follow me on that? How many pyruvic acid do we make? 2. So I want to go back on this. Okay, 2. So glucose has how many carbons in it? 6. Right? Glycolysis, lysis means to what? Break, right? So glycolysis basically means what? Breaking glucose. So you break it into 2 3-carbon sugars, right? That's pyruvic acid. 1 2 3 times 2 equals 6, right? Okay. Now you're going to pull off a carbon to make CO2 from both of those. So now it's lost 2 carbons, right? So now you have 2 acetates, which are what? 2 carbons, right? Right. Now coenzyme A is going to come in and bind to this. You're going to oxidize or reduce NAD to NADH.
Reduce.
Reduce. That means this thing has been
Reduced. Oxidized.
oxidized. So
Yeah.
acetate's been oxidized. Now you have acetyl-CoA. Okay? How many
Okay.
acetyl-CoAs do we have?
Two.
Two.
2 per pyruvic acid or 2
Two per molecule of
Molecule.
glucose. That's what you gotta think about,
Two.
right?
per?
Molecule of glucose. The glucose goes from 1 6-carbon to 2 3-carbon. And you pull off CO2 times 2. That's gonna give you 2 what? 2 carbons. And that's where we're at now. Now we're gonna take those acetyl-CoA and we're gonna dump them into where? Krebs cycle. Okay. I don't care what time you don't memorize all this. I think it's a waste of time. Acetyl-CoA come in. How many carbons do we have there?
2.
2. How many acetyl-CoAs do we have? 2. Oxaloacetic acid is already in this cycle, right? This is called a cycle because we're going to completely oxidize and get rid of all that, what's left of that glucose molecule. Follow me on that one? Okay. So now, acetyl-CoA is going to be converted to citric acid. That's why it's called the citric acid cycle also. This can be isomerized, which means just move stuff around. And then isocitrate is going to be oxidized or reduced here. Isocitrate,
Right down to 3.
Well,
right here.
it's gonna be oxidized.
Oxidized. NAD is
Reduced
NADH, and we just pulled off what?
CO2.
So how many times are we going around this sucker? Twice, right? So how many CO2s did we just pull off? From the whole thing, 2, right? So 2 more. Okay. Now you're going to go on alpha-ketogluteric acid. It's going to be converted to succinyl-CoA. Another, because it's happening twice, right? Another 2 NADs are going to be reduced, right? That means this has been oxidized, and we pulled off what else?
Another CO2.
But it's going to be twice, right? Because we have 2 of them. So 2 times 2 more CO2s. Keep an eye on that real quick.
Okay.
Now, succinyl-CoA is going to be converted to succinic acid. And here we're going to produce, don't worry about this whole thing, the idea is we produce ATP, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 ATP for each of the acetyl-CoA. So how many ATP is that? 2, right? Succinic acid then is going to be oxidized and you're going to reduce, right? FAD to FADH. That's going to give us malic acid. That's going to be converted up to, you're going to put in water. You're going to get malic acid, and then malic acid is going to be oxidized or reduced. Oxidized, because NAD has been reduced to NADH. And what do we end up with? Right back to oxaloacetic acid, right? What happened to the glucose? It's like the Las Vegas show. What happened to the glucose?
Gone.
It's been gone. It's been converted to what? How many carbons did we bring in here?
2.
2.
It's been converted to
How many
4.
CO2s do we make? 1,
2.
2. Those carbons are in those CO2s now. So that means during cellular respiration, through Krebs cycle, glucose is completely oxidized down to CO2 and water eventually. That make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay. So, did we make a product out of this?
No.
No, in fact, we made the lady disappear, right? She's no longer in the box. Glucose is gone. So now where are we going to go? Actually, guys, we're getting ready to get out of here. We'll go over to meet you all in the lab in a little bit. We'll finish this up. Everybody, okay, here's a little announcement. This is a review. If anybody, if you guys don't want to go to the review, it's voluntary. So lab will be voluntary today, so I got to have a voluntary lab tomorrow morning. We're having the biology film series this afternoon for extra credit if you guys want to go to that too. At 2. So if not, we'll meet in the library, in the lab, and we'll continue this review, okay? Keep an eye out.
You need coffee.
Keep an eye on your emails, because if something happens and I change the test and you don't go to the review, I'll email it to everybody.
Okay.
Really try to- Okay? All right.
What's going on right now? Bible?
If it's happening from 2 to 5, we have a biology film.
Oh,
Is it 2 to 5 or 3 to 5?
Do you have to stay for the entire time?
Not till you have to leave.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so
I
you
don't
have to leave. It's not a real, I don't like, oh, we did 2 to 5, just been at 6.
know. Okay.